Hey, yo, slow down for a second. Slow down. Hey, yo, Shaw, Brazil, hop out real quick. We're gonna get these niggas real quick. What they talking about? Just about a month ago, I was in a weird place, talking like they bout it. Come around, niggas scared straight. I've been locked. And no distractions for a year straight. This shit heavy duty, keep it coolie, pump your air brakes. One West, I don't hear the rhetoric. One West versus these cats, we ain't sweating shit. Pop it on the internet, you see them, they ain't saying shit. Nigga, who's you playing with? Stepping out the murder van, nothing they seen before. One hand wash the other hand, battle scars I needed though. Living by the law, y'all can keep the cool. I've been organizing, strategizing, they ain't peeping though. This is not a drill, this is not a rental. What I look like, earn my stripes, man, I'm too official. They gon' say they knew me, but they don't know the new me. I'm glorious, notorious, Biggie with the cool. I wrote this on the loose sleep, kicking shit like Bruce Lee. Never slipping blade under my pillow like it's loose teeth. This is how a soldier look, doing what I'm supposed to do. If you rockin', then I'm rockin', nigga, that's how soldiers move. Right.
Soldier move, nigga. Soldier moves, nigga. Shaw. Okay. Man, I hate when the pussy niggas speak to me, cause only one I talk to is beneath the sheets. I'm rude in speech, cavity in my fist might lose your teeth. Who is you to me? Now you can't even damn chew or eat, just fucking drink. But I take that way if you don't even think I'm off the leash. I'm humble but will still unleash. Talk big but shrink when you're around a damn righteous priest. I'm so unique, and all my women thick, petite, I'm gone. I be on my level. Haters want my shine. Nigga, I ain't shit. I think they know I'm lying. But really, I hate shit. I ain't eat enough crackers. I need a whole buffet, cause I ain't going backwards.
Let me tell you something. It's such a fool's game to think that you have to seek power. You have to seek the Most High, and you'll have all the power. I got more power, bro, than you could imagine. And I've sought none of it. Like, I got power.
All my soldiers.
I haven't sought none of it. I just want to work hard in this job. I want to be the best soldier I could be.
All my soldiers take over. Right. All my soldiers take over. Yeah. Yo, come on. Yo, Kashak, pull off. Yeah. And don't go backwards. Let's go.
Hey, y'all already know how South Coast doing this shit. South Coast, you know what I mean? We holding it down, brotherhood, South Coast skin, however you want to talk about it, however you want to do it. One thing for sure, we ain't going backwards.
Let's get right to it, dog. You know it's raw. Well, let me catch you if you're showing off. I wanted to get you, I hold it off. Thought he was solid, but told it off. Running the field with the underdogs. Don't want to get involved. I can admit it. I know what it is. I'm not tripping. I got every group. Niggas are
It's like if I may, there's no sound.
All right, now clap it up. Shalom Israel, with Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under the Command and General Yohana. All right, this is ISUPK Austin, Thursday scripture breakdown class. All right, tonight we're going to be talking about the real Thanksgiving. You see, because of your oppressor, because of your Christian pastor, you have come to believe that this is a day that you should get together with your family and that you should give thanks. Y'all should all come together. Y'all should all prepare a meal and y'all should come and be family. Okay. This is a time where all your family can come together and y'all can have a good time and y'all can eat and enjoy each other. That's what your oppressor declares this day of. But really, this isn't a day that you should be thankful for. This day exists because of the unaliving of your people, of your brothers and sisters, your native brothers and sisters. This was a victory for the old oppressor. And since this is a victory for him, okay, you shouldn't take thanks in it. You shouldn't celebrate Thanksgiving, because you celebrating Thanksgiving is celebrating the defeat of your brothers and sisters, the unaliving of your brothers and sisters. Like, and for how they acquired this day, it is devastating. They did some horrible things to create this holiday that they call Thanksgiving, that so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians partake in and celebrate. Okay, you're gonna go to the store. You're gonna make sure you get your turkey and your ham. You getting your chitlins. You getting your patties, pies. You getting all of these things. Okay, you're getting a whole bunch of unlawful food. All right, you sacrificing it to idols, and then you were partaking in it. And they got the nerve to pray over it. They're gonna stand up and they're going to pray over a ham. They're gonna pray over that duck. Go ahead.
All you got is pray over it. It's good. That's what he used to tell me growing up. And I believe it.
You eat any damn thing. They have us eating anything. Just say, yeah, all you got to do is bless it. If you bless it, baby, then the Lord prepared it for you. But that's an absolute lie. Because the Lord, he told us what to eat. He gave us a dietary law. All right. And see, the problem is we don't understand history. Like, we are so caught up in what's going on today. We are so caught up in trying to keep up with the Joneses. We are so caught up in trying to serve our lust and serve our flesh that we don't even know what happened to us in the past. And we don't even understand why we celebrate these things that we celebrate. So tonight, we're going to give you the real history of this so-called holiday, which is a holiday. Okay? First, let me get Ecclesiasticus 33:9. Because we got to understand that you looking at your oppressor's holidays as if it's of the Lord. People think this is of God. I don't think we do. Just gonna have to, it'll pick it up on here.
Book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 33 and verse 9. Some of them hath he made high days and hallowed them, and some of them hath made ordinary days.
You said, see, the Lord says that some of these days he hide them and hallowed them. He made them a high holy day. He made them a holy convocation. And some of them other days, he just made them ordinary. Thanksgiving, this is an ordinary day. If you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, this should just be an ordinary day to you. It shouldn't be all of this. What's the way to put it? It shouldn't be you having to give all your energy. You have to wake up early so you could start preparing some feast that the Lord doesn't even respect, that the Lord doesn't even care about. The Lord hates your feast days. Okay? Give me Deuteronomy 7:6. See, we're supposed to be separate. Okay, we're supposed to be holy. Holy means separate. We're supposed to separate ourselves from other nations. We're supposed to separate ourselves from other customs. But we want to dive in head first. We want to participate and partake in everything that our oppressor does, or anything that our oppressor sanctions. You see, Thanksgiving wasn't sanctioned by the Most High. So since it wasn't sanctioned by the Most High, you shouldn't participate in it. You shouldn't have any doing with it. Okay? Let me get that. Deuteronomy 7 and 6.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
See, we are chosen. We are chosen to be a special people above all people on the face of the earth. So they should be following our customs. They should be following our holy days, not us following theirs. Not us trying to serve them. They should be serving us, serving the days that the Lord said that are hallowed, that are high. Okay. Give me Hosea 4 and 6, because this is why we don't know. This is why we don't know that we're a special people. This is why we don't know that we have days that the Lord set high and hallowed. We don't know these things because we are destroyed. Go ahead when you got it.
Book of Hosea, chapter 4, verse 6. My people are destroyed.
Everybody.
For lack of knowledge.
Everybody's destroyed for lack of knowledge.
Our people are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
See, the Lord said, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. We lack knowledge. That's why we don't know that we're not supposed to be celebrating these so-called holidays. Okay? You over there eating all the food that the Lord told you that you shouldn't eat. Okay? And then you have to, let's just put it like this. I don't know if y'all ever seen that movie Soul Food, right? Soul Food, they came together, I guess, every Sunday, and they ate this meal, right? They're eating all this stuff that's bad for you every Sunday. Big Mama has to get her leg cut off. And then when she passes, you know what they do to celebrate her? They eat all these same foods that destroyed her. That's what we're doing today. We are partaking in these customs, and they're destroying us. Okay, you over there at your family house with other family members that you can't stand, that you have odds with. Okay, you have to sit there with that uncle that did what he did to you when you was a little girl or a little boy, and you have to come and what? And come and sit and eat with him every year. You have to look at him. Okay? They'll come. That's that is a horrible thing. Put innocent children around all these predators for the sake of Thanksgiving. That's what we're doing. Continue reading.
Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee.
That's why we reject it today, because we reject the knowledge of the Most High. We still rejecting it. If you celebrated Thanksgiving today, then you rejecting the knowledge of the Most High. Okay? Because we got the we out here telling you that you shouldn't partake in it, that you shouldn't celebrate it. Okay? Continue reading.
That thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children.
You see, our children are forgotten because these traditions of men, these customs, they are passed down generation through generation through generation, and that's what's going on, right? this Thanksgiving, it has been passed down from generation to generation to generation. And that's because we are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. And that's how our children are forgotten. Okay? You over here celebrating this customs of man. Somebody give me Amos 5:21. This is how the Lord feels about your feast days, about what you about the things you celebrate. Okay, about the days that your oppressor sanctioned. Go ahead when you got it.
Look at Amos chapter 5 and verse 21.
Mm-hmm.
I despise your feast days.
What?
I despise your feast days.
The Lord hates and despises your feast days. Them days that he made high and hallowed, those are the days he respects. But them days that he made ordinary, you can't come now and say, oh, this day isn't ordinary anymore. This day is special. To him, he hates and he despises your feast days. Continue reading.
And I will not smell in your solemn assemblies.
He's not going to smell in your solemn assemblies. You over there cooking all this food, all right? And the Lord, he's not going to smell. He's not going to take pleasure. He's not going to have any favor in it. Continue reading.
Verse 22. So ye offer me burnt offerings and your meat offerings.
So we offering them burnt offerings and them meat offerings. You making all the meats, right? You making duck. You making turkeys. You making hams. You making Cornish hens. Okay? You making your greens, your stuffings, your all that. The Lord ain't smelling none of that. He said, though you offer them the burnt offerings and them meat offerings, continue.
I will not accept them.
I will what?
I will not accept them.
So why the hell is Christians standing over a table playing for 35 minutes while everybody's starving, while people sneaking bites? You praying over this food, but he said he will not what?
I will not accept them.
The Lord does not accept your feast days. He doesn't accept your Thanksgiving. He doesn't accept what your oppressor sanctions. Okay? He accepts the days that he hallowed. He accepts his feast days, the Passovers, the Feast of Purims, the Feast of First Fruits, the Feast of Tabernacles. Okay? The Hanukkah. We have our own days.
Right.
We have enough days. We don't have to celebrate what the world is celebrating. Okay? Continue reading.
Neither will I regard the peace offerings of your fat beasts.
You see, and that's why there's never no peace at these holidays, at these so-called holidays. When you're sitting at the same table with whoever touched it 20 years ago, you got to look at them in the eyes and give them a hug and a kiss on the cheek. Okay? You can't get along with each other. There's never no peace at there. There's going to be a fight. Somebody's going to break out in a fight. Somebody's going to get too drunk and say the wrong thing. Okay? He doesn't accept your peace offerings. Continue reading.
Verse 23. Take thou away from me the noise of thy song.
Take thou away from me the noise of that song. Don't be over there singing none of the songs, being happy and jolly. He doesn't want to hear it because you think you're coming together for family. You think you're coming together because you think this is the right thing to do, but it's just not. Okay? Finish that out.
For I will not hear the melody of thy vows.
You're not going to hear the melody of thy vows. You're not going to hear your voice. He's not going to take any pleasure in it. Okay? All right, give me one of those articles. Give me the Mount Rushmore one.
You want me to go ahead and read it?
Yep. Crazy.
This is Mount Rushmore article, Native Americans and Mount Rushmore.
Mm-hmm.
The creation of Mount Rushmore is a story of struggle,
Mm-hmm.
and to some, desecration.
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 Mm-hmm.
The Black Hills are sacred to the Lakota.
Yep.
See?
The Sioux.
Yeah. The original occupants of the area when white settlers arrived.
Mm-hmm.
For some, the 4 presidents carved in the hill are not without negative symbolism.
Yep.
So what?
The Sioux.
The Sioux have never had much luck dealing with white men.
The what? They never had much luck with what?
Dealing with white men.
Who the hell has? Okay. Now, what we need to know is like these Lakota people, all right, this land was very, very sacred to them. Very sacred. And the oppressor came, and because of gold, they took this land, and what they did was carve 4 presidents into there. See, that's what they do. And you go around and you still celebrate their holidays. You're going to celebrate this Thanksgiving when all they do is I don't want to say that word. What they do is no, I ain't gonna say it. What they do is crap on your name, okay? On your heritage, on what you think is special, what you hold high value to. They'll come and they'll desecrate it. They don't care. They have absolutely no sense of compassion. Everything about them is about that money and power. And that's why they will come and take your land from you and build their monuments. That's what they did. They came and they took this from these people and they put their monuments on it. That's just another slap in the face to you. Continue reading.
In the Treaty of 1868, the U.S. government promised the Sioux territory that included the Black Hills in
perpetuity.
Perpetuity lasted only until gold was found in the mountains. And
how long that treaty last?
Lasted only until gold was found in the mountains.
That's how long. That's why the Bible says never trust thy enemy. It's only going to last until they find what they want. And once that happens, you're done. You're cooked. This treaty lasted until they felt that gold could come. Once they felt that gold, they said them treaties out the window. They said we talking about dollars and cents now. Okay, go ahead.
Like if I could, sir, and it's crazy because they made us learn in school that was a good thing. With Manifest Destiny, they talked about God, glory, and gold.
Mm-hmm.
They made it a godly thing what they did.
Yeah. In the name of Christianity, they conquered the earth. In the name of Christianity, they unalived millions and millions of people. In the name of Christianity, they done had countless numbers of slaves. In the name of Christianity, they still celebrate these traditions of men today. And now, in the name of Christianity, we celebrate them. So-called blacks and Hispanics and Native Indians. Because that's my brother in Christ. And my brother in Christ, he's going to invite me over for some of that turkey, for some of them yams and potato salads and all that. Okay? Continue reading.
And prospectors migrated there in 1870. In the 1870s, the federal government then forced the Sioux to relinquish the Black Hills portion of their reservation.
Forced to relinquish. Okay, that means they took this by force. They took this by force with their weapons. All right, with their savagery. They wanted to call the natives savages, but they're the real savages because they'll step on your sacred land and not care. You know what they do in our sacred land? They have the biggest alternative lifestyle parade in our sacred land because they get there, they take it, and they disrespect everything that you ever will stand for. Continue reading.
These events fit the pattern of the late 19th century, a time of nearly constant conflict between the American government and Plains Indians. At his second presidential inauguration in 1873, Ulysses S. Grant reflected the attitudes of many whites when he said he favored a humane course to bring Native Americans under the benign influences of education and civilization.
See, that's what they're always trying to do to you. That's what they always say. Well, we're gonna give them God. We're gonna teach them about God. We're gonna educate them, and we're gonna civilize them.
That's another way of saying they're going to assimilate the Native Americans.
Yeah, that they're going to enslave them. That they're going to take over. Okay, that's what they. That's what they do. They want to enslave you. Okay, where's that part at?
And he says,
oh yeah. For education and to civilize you. That's what I was taught. I was taught when I was young that I was a jungle bunny in Africa, and they captured me and they brought me over here and they gave me Christ. I wouldn't have had Christ if I wouldn't have been a slave. I wouldn't have been civilized. I'd have been running around with a diaper in Africa somewhere. Go ahead.
Like, so that's so crazy to say that too, because as a little boy, all I thought was that our history began in slavery. They never tell us nothing before slavery. It's such a corrupt way of teaching people who are supposed to be growing up into, you know what I'm saying, the world.
That's right.
Demoralizing the little kid.
That's right. Give him a hand. Because I thought the same thing. I always used to wonder what was before slavery. That's where our history starts in the American educational institutions. Okay, that's exactly what I was taught. All right, continue reading, Kakam.
It is either this or war of extermination. Many of the land's original occupants did not choose to assimilate. For them, war was the only option.
See, that's what it needs to be. Right now, for you, war should be the only option. And I don't mean war by going out and unaliving. I mean war by stopping following their traditions. Right. Stop celebrating their customs. You're going to have to go to war with your grandmother. You're going to have to go to war with your rib. You're going to have to go to war with your children over this truth, because we have all been taught that if you don't celebrate this, you're going to be looked at as crazy. You're going to be looked at as something's wrong with you, because everybody does it. And they said right here, it was either education or civilization, and if not, then war. If you don't listen to what we say, well, then it's going to be a war. We're going to exterminate your people, and that's what they do, and that's what they did. Continue reading.
For them, war was the only option. In South Dakota, Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse led various Chewits tribes against the U.S. Army. They had a notable success against General George Armstrong Custer and his troops. But the Army's defeat at the Battle of Little Bighorn in America's centennial year, 1876, would cause the federal government to redouble its efforts. Some of the area in which Rushmore stands was eventually purchased by the state of South Dakota and developed as Custer State Park. The rest was part of the Black Hills National Forest. South Dakota was also the site of the last major defeat of the Native Americans at the Battle of Wounded Knee in 1890. In his best-selling 1970 history of Native American experiences in the West, Buried My Heart at Wounded Knee, D. Brown explains that the battle was actually a massacre where hundreds of unarmed Jewish women, children, and men were shot and killed by U.S. troops.
You see, that's the way of your oppressor. That is his way. Men, women, children, old, young, he doesn't care. He's going to destroy and unalive. Continue reading.
The history of Wounded Knee would spur American Indian movement activists to occupy the site in 1973. They demanded the federal government honor the treaties made with various tribes. The FBI became involved in what became known as the Second Siege at Wounded Knee, and a tense standoff resulted in the death of 2 Native Americans and injury to others on both sides. Violence continued to erupt for several years, including a June 26, 1975 firefight on the Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota that ended with the death of 2 FBI agents and 1 Native American. In a case that continues to spur controversy, AIM member Leonard Peltier was convicted of killing the FBI agents and sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences in prison. In 1927, with a history of turmoil as a background, a white man living in Connecticut came into the Black Hills and dynamited and drilled the faces of 4 white men until Mount Rushmore.
You see, that's how they was building. They came there and they dynamited the land. For one day over there, stepping all over this sacred ground, and then they dynamited it, putting the faces of the oppressor, of the people who conquered them, all over their sacred land. And later on, and still to this day, they're trying to give them money for it, but they want their land. They don't want the money. The land is sacred, not the dollar. Continue reading.
Honorable Khan. At the outset of the project, Gutson Borgle had persuaded South Dakota state historian Diane Robinson, the president would give the work national significance, rejecting Robinson's initial suggestion that the sculpture honored the West's greatest heroes, both Native Americans and pioneers.
Continue.
The result.
The insult.
The insult of Rushmore to some Jewish is at least threefold. Number 1, it was built on land the government took from them.
So it's built on stolen land. They stole this land, and they built and created what they wanted on them. Continue.
Number 2, the Black Hills in particular are considered sacred ground.
The Black Hills are sacred ground. Okay, it is sacred to these people. It's highly important. All right, continue.
Number 3, the monument celebrates the European settlers who killed so many Native Americans and appropriated their land.
You see, so they're gonna honor the unalivers. Okay, so first they came and they stole your land. Then your land was sacred. They stole your sacred land, and then they put monuments of themselves up. Continue reading.
To counter the white faces of Rushmore in 1939, Jewish chief Henry Standing Bear invited sculptor Korzak Zelkowski, who worked briefly at Rushmore, to carve a memorial to the Jewish nation in the Black Hills, perhaps worried of Baumgart's troubles with financial administrators. Ziolkowski personally bought a mountaintop with a granite ridge and financed the entire project privately. The statue, envisioned as a freestanding sculpture of the great Jewish chief Crazy Horse, will be much larger than any of the Rushmore figures. Krzysztof Ziolkowski died in 1982, but his family continues to work on this awesome undertaking. Crazy Horse face was completed and dedicated in 1998. Although the subject of this work addresses one aspect of Rushmore's offenses, the land is still considered Jewish property, and the mountain that the Ziolkowskis are carving is still sacred. The Crazy Horse Monument is not without its own dissenters and critics.
So now you know Mount Rushmore was taken. They make it seem like some great American thing. You get to drive up there. I don't know if you got to pay your money, but you drive up there, you can go look at it. But all in all, it's on sacred ground. It's on something that the natives hold near and dear to their heart. Go ahead, y'all. Huh?
What's it at? Is it wrong?
I don't know. I think it's in the Dakotas. Yeah, South Dakota. South Dakota. Yeah. Went up there, took their land, and put some oppressive faces in there. So when they got to look at their sacred land, they got to look at their oppressor who dominated them. Okay. Let me get the next article.
Which one? The real story of the annual Thanksgiving?
Nah, that's let's get the other one.
Oh, Columbus.
Yep.
Was Columbus really that bad? No, he was worse. On October 12th, 1492, Christopher Columbus landed on San Salvador, an island in the present-day Bahamas. Of the native Arawaks he encountered there, Columbus wrote in his diary, there were well built, with good bodies and handsome features. They do not bear arms, and do not know them. For I showed them a sword. They took it by the edge and cut themselves out of ignorance. They have no iron. Their spears are made of cane. They would make fine servants. With 50 men, we could subjugate them and make them do whatever we want.
Continue.
He later added, as soon as I arrived in the Indies, on the first island which I found, I took some of the natives by force in order that they might learn and might give me information of whatever there is in these parts.
All right, for time's sake, we're going to drop that article. See, this is how your oppressor thinks. Columbus didn't discover a damn thing. There was people here, okay? But he came over, he conquered it. He said with 50 men, he said he could subjugate all of them because we didn't have the weapons like that. We didn't have the understanding. We didn't have the savagery in us like they do. They are the beast of the field. So when they come and they unalive, they steal and they destroy. Give me Colossians 2:8. Because we are taking after their customs. We're taking after their ways. We are trying to be like them. We want to be more like them because of Caesar Borgia. Because of that image that they give us, it makes us believe that they're closer to God because we believe that God looks like them.
the book of Colossians, chapter 2 and verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
Beware, lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit.
You see, that's what we are spoiled through, philosophy and for vain deceit. We are taught these philosophies as children. We are taught these things, and we're taught that this is a good thing. Okay, you go out and you watch this, and they make Thanksgiving a Disney movie.
Right.
So you believe that these pilgrims and these settlers, they just came together and that it was just all love and happiness and everything was great and grand. Continue reading.
Come on, Khan. After the tradition of men.
After what?
The tradition of men.
Thanksgiving is what?
The tradition of men.
Uh-huh.
After the rudiments of the world and not after Christ.
See, we follow in the rudiments of the world. We follow in the traditions of men, but we are not following after Christ. We're not following after our King, because Christ wouldn't be sitting here with a ham hock in his mouth,
right,
in the name of Thanksgiving. Okay? That just wouldn't be happening. But you think that you're doing something honorable because you're going to go over to your aunt's house, even though that cousin that been beating you up since you was a child, your big cousin been beating you up as every time you see him, your shoulder purple because he's,
right.
You know, you got to go over there and you got to be around him. Okay, you got to go be around your aunt who disrespected you every time she seen you,
right,
to make her son look better.
Yep.
Okay, because her son is simple, slow, and dumb. Yep. And you was a little educated, so she want to try to put you down to make her son better. You got to go over there and sit with her. You got to go over there. All right, that's why there's always fights at these things. Somebody tonight, right now, you got somebody holding this person and this person back right now. Yep. They about to knock the leftovers off the table, you know, trying to get to each other because one got too drunk. I remember it. I remember my uncle get so drunk, he calling all my aunties a B. Call his auntie a B. She reach over and slap him. It's just silliness. Continue reading.
Go on, Con, verse 9. For in him dwelleth all the fullness of the Godhead.
Oh, drop down to 20. So like it.
Come on, Con, verse 20. Wherefore, if ye be dead with Christ from the rudiments of the world, why, as though living in the world, are you subject to ordinances?
All right. So why are you subjected to these ordinances? If you picking up your cross, if you are dead to this world with Christ, then why are you subjected to these ordinances? Why do you have to follow these holidays? You don't have to follow these holidays because you're with Christ.
Right.
So you shouldn't be participating in Thanksgivings. Okay? You shouldn't be participating in these traditions of men. All right? Continue reading.
Come on, verse 21. Touch not, taste not, handle not.
Read that again.
Touch not, taste not, handle not.
You shouldn't handle those things. You shouldn't touch those things. Don't go touching the things of this world. Don't go touching their Thanksgivings. Don't go touching their Christianities. Don't go touching their philosophies. Don't go touching their rudiments. Don't go touching their traditions. Okay? You want to be over here just partaking in anything. Hold on, let me see if I got, hold on, I took a little. Let me get, hold on, I might have that in here. Let me see. Oh yeah, I do. So I'm gonna wait on that. Give me 2 Maccabees.
Come on, Con.
6-1. This is how we come about to celebrate these kind of things. You see, you don't have no understanding. You think you celebrate Thanksgiving because it's about family. You think you celebrate Christmas because you think it's about presents and family. You think you celebrate all this because you think you're celebrating it because of love. What you got to realize is we celebrate these things because of oppression, because of force, because your head would be by your ankles if you didn't celebrate it. Okay, go ahead.
Going kind. 2 Maccabees, chapter 6 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers and not to live after the laws of God.
You see, that's what happened. That's what happens to us. People come and they compel us, and then you don't follow what you should anymore. You follow what they deem, as important, what they deem as a high holy day, what they deem, whatever they sanction. Okay. Drop down to verse 6.
Come on, verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts or fast.
Actually, go back. You could go from 2 and we'll go down to 6.
Come on. Verse 2. And to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter Olympius.
Yep.
And that in Garism of Jupiter, the defender of strangers, as they did desire that dwelt in that place, in the place.
You see, you start worshiping these other gods. That's what you did today when you prayed over that ham. Okay.
Right.
Continue reading.
Come on. Verse 3. The coming in of this mischief was sore and grievous to the people. For the temple was filled with riot and reveling by the Gentiles.
With riot and reveling. They was in there rioting and they was in there raving. Like having a rave. Do. Go ahead.
God. Who dallied with harlots and had to do with women within the circuit of these holy places.
Yep.
And besides that, brought in things that were not lawful. The altar was filled with profane things, which the law forbiddeth. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient fasts.
You see, it wasn't lawful to keep these. It wasn't lawful for you to keep your high holy days. Right. And that's why you celebrate their high holy days today. Continue reading.
Come on. Or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
Okay, you still can't do that today.
Right.
Kanye West tried to say. Kanye West said the Jews are black too. He didn't say white people wasn't Jews. He said the Jews are black too. He doesn't have a shoe anymore. Okay. He was deemed crazy. Kyrie shared a post. Okay. You're not allowed to confess yourself as a Jew. Go tell them you're a Jew at your slavery. Tell them that. See what they say. Okay. Go ahead.
Was the South Dakota one when they built the
Mount Rushmore?
Yeah, that was the Pequot
tribe? No. The Pequot tribe we getting into next. That's the Lakota.
So the Pequot, I was watching a video earlier of one of their descendants talking, one of my brothers, and after they destroyed them, they wrote a declaration that they could no longer profess themselves to be called Pequot.
You see?
And then I was just like, that's literally 2 Maccabees 2 and 6.
That's heavy. That's what I'm saying. You're not allowed. They will take away everything from you. They strip you to the bone, literally. And you don't know who the hell you are after that. Okay? Let's get that other article.
The Pequot massacre.
Yep.
That's a lot. I meant to say 2 Maccabees 6 and 6. I said 2 and 6.
Oh yeah, Most High in Christ. Go ahead.
Out of Wagan. 1637 Pequot massacre. The real story of the annual U.S. Thanksgiving.
This is what y'all celebrated today. This is the real story of the U.S. Thanksgiving that you celebrate today.
Right.
Go ahead.
Out of Wagan. Most of us associate the holiday with happy pilgrims and Indians sitting down to a big feast. And that did happen once.
One time, it was a happy feast. Okay? One time. Let's see why it was one time. Go ahead.
Khan. The story began in 1614 when a band of English explorers sailed home to England with a ship full of Pictops Indians bound for slavery. They left behind smallpox, which virtually wiped out those who had escaped. By the time the Pilgrims arrived in Massachusetts Bay, they found only one living Pictops Indian, a man named Squanto, who had survived slavery in England and knew their language. He taught them to grow corn and to fish, and negotiated a peace treaty between the Pilgrims and the Wampanoag Nation. At the end of their first year, the Pilgrims held a great feast honoring Squanto and the Wampanoags.
All right, so Squanto, he was the one that he was able to speak to both. So he was the one showing, he showed them settlers how to, grow the corn, how to survive on the land. And the reason he was able to speak their language is because he was taken into slavery as a child over there. All right, continue.
Adam Khan. But as word spread in England about the paradise to be in the New World.
You see, where you at, you make it a paradise. America used to be a paradise before the parasite came and destroyed it. Continue.
Adam Khan. But as word spread in England about the paradise to be found in the New World, religious zealots called Puritans began arriving by the boatload.
You see, that's who came. Christians. That's who's destroying our people. Christians. Still to this day, Christianity is the most destructive thing on the planet. Continue reading.
Finding no fences around the land. They consider it to be in the public domain, joined by other British settlers. They seized land, capturing strong young natives for slaves and killing the rest.
You see, they took the strong. If you were strong enough to go into slavery, you was going. But if you wasn't, then you was just a waste of space. And they just unalive you. They just have no problem unaliving you if you're not useful. Okay? This is what's in their heart. And you give all your love to them. You give all your dedication to them. You spend all your money to celebrate these days that are only here because of your conquering. Continue reading.
Capturing strong young natives for slaves and killing the rest. But the Pequot nation had not agreed to the peace treaty Squanto had negotiated, and they fought back. The Pequot War was one of the bloodiest Indian wars ever fought.
You see, but there was a people. There was one tribe. They was like, no, we don't want that treaty. You over there with them, and those are our enemies, Squanto. There's no way that we're going to agree to this peace treaty. All right, continue reading.
In 1637, near present day Groton, Connecticut, over 700 men, women, and children of the Pequot tribe had gathered for their annual Green Corn Festival, which is our Thanksgiving celebration.
You see, so they came together. They had their Green Corn Festival. This is what they did. 700 people, 700 men, men, women, and children. Okay? But something horrible happened to them at this, by them trying to just do what they do. Okay? Continue.
In the pre-dawn hours.
In the what?
The pre-dawn hours.
You see, your enemy is so sneaky. In them pre-dawn hours. Continue.
The sleeping Indians were surrounded by English and Dutch mercenaries who ordered them to come outside.
Mm-hmm.
Those who came out were shot and clubbed to death, while the terrified women and children who huddled inside the longhouse were burned alive.
You see, this is how you know that your oppressor, they have just a perpetual hatred for you. Okay. The ones who did run out, they were shot and clubbed to death. All right. But those who stayed in, they were burned alive. Continue reading.
The next day, the governor of the Massachusetts Bay Colony cleared a day of Thanksgiving because 700 unarmed men, women, and children had been murdered.
This is why you celebrate Thanksgiving. This is what your oppressor is thankful for. They were thankful that 700 innocent men, women, and children were unalive. That's why they declare this a day of Thanksgiving. If they didn't unalive them, there wouldn't be no Thanksgiving. They wouldn't call it that. But because 700 unarmed men, women, and children were unalived, to your oppressor, that is a day of Thanksgiving. That is something that they can look up and say, thank you. Thank you, God. All right, continue reading.
Cheered by their victory, the brave colonists and their Indian allies attacked village after village.
They did what? Attacked what?
Village after village.
You see, it's never enough for them. There's never enough blood. There's never enough bloodshed. There's never enough terror. There's never enough torment. Continue reading.
Women and children over 14 were sold into slavery, while the rest were murdered.
You see, the children over 14, they were sold into slavery. But if you wasn't 14, good night. Continue.
Boats loaded with many as 500 slaves verbally left the ports of New England. Bounties were paid for Indian scalps to encourage as many deaths as possible.
You see, they wanted blood. You bring me back a scalp, I'm gonna bless you for bringing me this scalp, so we can that encourage more unaliving, more terror, more harm. Continue reading.
Following an especially successful raid against the Pequot in what it is now Stamford, Connecticut, the churches announced a second day of Thanksgiving.
The what?
Announced a second day of Thanksgiving.
You see, so as they go village to village, the church, Christians, we see why you celebrate Thanksgiving, because the church told you to. The church told you that your oppressor is unaliving 700 unarmed men and women and then going village to village, that these are days of Thanksgiving, and we should be thankful. And if you're a Christian, you are following your Christians of old. This is what Christianity is. Continue reading.
A second day of Thanksgiving to celebrate victory over the heathen savages.
Over what?
Over the heathen savages.
I'm gonna let you know the Native Americans are God's people.
Right.
The heathen and the savages are the oppressor that the devil, that the Bible calls the devil.
Right.
The devil. Your oppressor is a devil. He is a heathen. He is a savage. How are you going to call them heathens and savages when they were peaceful and all you did was come and just unalive 700 of them for no reason? Continue reading.
During the feasting, the hacked off heads of Native Americans were kicked through the streets like soccer balls.
You see that? They made sport. As they dismember your body, they made sport with it. And you still want to sit down and pray to God over Thanksgiving? That is insane. All right? They were kicking our heads around like soccer balls for fun. This is what gives your oppressor joy. Continue reading.
Khan out of Khan. Even the friendly weapon dog did not escape the madness. Their chief was beheaded and his head impaled on a pole in Plymouth, Massachusetts, where it remained on display for 24 years.
For how long?
24 years.
It was for 24 years. All right, so just imagine that you were a kid. You're a child. You 5, 10 years old. Say you're 10 when this goes up, right? 24 years, it stays up there. You got to see this 24 years for 24 years. Just imagine what that would do to your mind. Just imagine the fear and terror that would put, because this is your chief. This was the greatest amongst you. And his head is impaled on a stake for 24 years, and you grew up looking at that. What kind of trauma that would do to you mentally, all right? You would have PSTD. Continue reading.
The killings became more and more frenzied with days of Thanksgiving, feasts being held after each successful massacre.
You see this? Day after day, they was doing this. And after each successful massacre, they would have a feast. They celebrate the unaliving of you. That's what all of their feasts are about. So why would you partake in them? That's what is wrong. That's why we know we're destroyed for a lack of knowledge, because we are celebrating our unaliving. That's what we're celebrating. We're celebrating our oppression. Anytime you go out and you buy a turkey, you buy a Valentine's Day card, you buy a Christmas present, you buy fireworks. Anytime you go and do any of that, all you doing is celebrating you being conquered.
Right.
Celebrating the unaliving of your people. Go ahead.
And you're a traitor.
And you're definitely a traitor. Oh, you're a traitor because you are taking on the customs and the traditions and the rudiments of men and not of God. Continue reading.
Khan, with days of Thanksgiving, feasts being held after each successful massacre. George Washington finally suggested that only one day of Thanksgiving per year be set aside instead of celebrating each and every massacre. Later, Abraham Lincoln decreed Thanksgiving to be a legal national holiday during the Civil War. On the same day, he ordered troops to march against the starving Shuites in Minnesota.
You see, black people love Lincoln. They think Lincoln just ended slavery. No, Lincoln marched on starving natives. Okay, they love George Washington. See, they love their forefathers. That's why they're thankful. Okay, these men just wasn't on the dollar for nothing. They were on the dollar because of the crimes they committed against you. Those crimes that they committed against you, they became heroes to their nation. Okay? So don't celebrate their heroes, because that's what you're doing when you celebrating these holidays. Continue reading.
This story doesn't have quite the same fuzzy feelings associated with it as the one where the Indians and Pilgrims are all sitting down together at the big feast.
You see, that's because that's what we're taught, that they had this big feast and it was just so great and it was so grand. And at school, you dress up, you know, you make your little feather, you make your little Indian headband, right? And you perform. All right, you have the Thanksgiving Day play or whatever. Okay, they have you reenacting this stuff like it was just so grand. They show you Pocahontas like, oh, she was just so in love, when really he took that little girl and did what he wanted with her. There was no love involved. Okay, they make it like a Disney movie. They make it like a fairy tale. And you hold high esteem to it. You think it's so great. Continue reading.
Khan, but we need to learn our true history so it won't ever be repeated.
We need to what?
But we need to learn our true history so it won't ever be repeated.
We have to learn history. It's important because those who don't know history will repeat it. These are things that we have to learn, that we have to understand. All right? We need to know what happened. We need to know what really happened on Thanksgiving. Okay? And if you have any courage, then you would tell your mama, no.
Right.
I can't celebrate it. Innocent people were unalived for this day. So this isn't a day of Thanksgiving to me. This is actually a day we should mourn our brothers and sisters who had to lose their life, who had to lose their land because of our oppressor. Continue reading.
Next Thanksgiving, when you gather with your loved ones to thank God for all your blessings, think about those people who only wanted to live their lives and raise their families. They also took time out to say thank you to the Creator for all their blessings. Our thanks to Hill and Halakonu by Susan Bates.
All right, yeah, that's it on that. Let me see. Yeah, this is just introduction or something. Let me scroll down here because there's a lot. No, they got some good stuff in there, but hey, we just gonna go back to the scriptures. Give me Ezekiel 35 and 5. Or actually, give me Deuteronomy 28 and 68 first.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 68.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again.
You see, Egypt means bondage. Okay, we were brought into Egypt again with ships. And then when you think of the transatlantic slave trade, you're always just thinking of the so-called Negroes. When it started with the Northern Kingdom.
Right.
We were paraded up there to Spain. We just read about that with Squanto. All right, continue reading.
Come on, Khan. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen.
You see, we were taken into these slaveries. All right. And now you celebrate these slaveries in the name of Thanksgiving. Now let me get Ezekiel 35 and 5.
Come on.
Because it's just horrible what happened to our people. It's just horrible the conditions that we suffer in. Go ahead.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 35 and verse 5.
Mm-hmm.
Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end.
You see, they have a perpetual hatred for us. It is a everlasting. Okay, it's everlasting. It's been since the womb. Give me Genesis 25 and 21. This perpetual hatred, it's been since the womb. Okay, we're two different nations, two different manner of people. All right.
Come on, Khan. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 25 and verse 31.
No, 21.
Verse 21.
Uh-huh.
And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren. And the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived. Verse 22.
So hold on. So what's going on is Rebekah was barren. Barren means that your womb is closed up and you can't have babies. So Isaac entreated the Lord because they wanted to produce a child together. And remember, Leah was having all the children. Okay, continue reading.
Come on, Khan. Verse 22. And the children struggled.
They
together.
did what?
They struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus?
If this is supposed to be, why are they struggling in between? Okay, continue.
Come on, Khan. And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb.
What?
2 nations are in thy womb.
Uh-huh.
And 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels.
And that's why they have a perpetual hatred. Continue.
Come on. And the one people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger.
Continue reading.
Come on. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb.
Mm-hmm.
And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they call his name Esau.
You see, that is your oppressor. Your oppressor is Esau. Red and hairy. Continue reading.
Come on. So I can write that.
Yep, no sweat.
Verse 26. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them.
Continue.
And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter.
He was a what?
A cunning hunter.
He was a what?
A cunning hunter.
Esau is a cunning hunter. Okay? He even hunts you. Oh, he was cunning when he was hunting down them natives day by day, calling it days of Thanksgiving. Okay? He was cunning coming over and oppressing you. He's cunning today with everything he does to oppress you, to keep you down. And then he's still cunning, having you celebrate your own destruction. Continue reading.
Come on. He was a cunning hunter, a man of the field.
Mm-hmm.
And Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in the tents.
See, we playing. We up in the house. Esau out there hunting. Waking up at 3 a.m., putting deer piss all over him, sitting in the tree just to unalive Bambi. Okay? Let me get Ecclesiasticus 12 and 10.
It's the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12 and verse 10. Never trust thine enemy.
Sometimes.
Never trust thine enemy.
Make a treaty.
Never trust thine enemy.
Continue.
For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
So you can never trust your enemy, because as iron rust, so does his wickedness. With all the treaties that they have made, they haven't kept not one of them. Okay? So you can never trust your enemy, because as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. He will never honor any deal that he has with you. All those things all those deals that he makes with you, he is going to break them. Okay? Continue reading.
Come on. Verse 11. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and be aware of him.
You see, they had that. They came to that Green Corn Festival,
right? And
they did sit together and eat. They said it was once. Go ahead.
And Salakia, isn't the Green Corn Festival a tradition of the Northern Kingdom in the ancient days?
I'd have to dig deeper and look up that, but it possibly is.
I feel like I heard it somewhere.
You might have, and I'm gonna look into that really.
Come on.
You know, but we have our feast days.
Right.
They have theirs. And this was one that they just snatched,
right,
and called a day of Thanksgiving for unaliving us. That's why we can never trust our enemy. They come humble. They're going to come real humble. They're going to come in the name of Christianity. They're going to come in the name of God. They're going to come in the name of friendship. But you can never trust them. Continue reading.
Come on. Yet take good heed and be aware of him, and doubt shall be unto him as thou hast wiped a looking glass. And thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away.
You see, that's what we need to do. We need to really look and examine. When you get this truth and your eyes open up, it'll be like looking at him through a looking glass. It'll be you'll be able to see what he really is clearly. That's why we know to beware of him. And here, well, we beware of our oppressor. We know what they are. Okay? We don't put them by our side. We're not friends with them. None of that. You could drop that. Let's get Exodus 20:3. Actually, no. Let me get John 4:22.
The book of John, chapter 4 and verse 22.
Mm-hmm.
Ye worship, ye know what? Ye know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews.
You see, we know what we worship. Okay. We know we worship the Most High God. All right. They don't know what they worship. That's why they worship in Thanksgiving. That's why they worship Christmas. That's why they're Christians. Okay. They don't know what they worship. We know what we worship. All right. Drop that. Give me John 8:44. And since they know what they not worship, they just doing what their father does. That's what they're doing. Doing what their father does. All right. You can read that when you got it.
Book of John, chapter 8, and verse 44.
Mm-hmm.
Ye are of your father the devil.
Ye what?
Are of your father the devil.
Ye are of your father the devil. If you were celebrating Thanksgiving, ye are of your father the devil.
Right.
Okay. That's exactly what you were of. All right. Because you were celebrating your oppressor's victories. That's what these holidays are about. These holidays are about you celebrating your oppressor's victories. Okay? Continue reading.
And the lust of your fathers ye will do.
The lust of your fathers ye will do. That's what you were doing now. You're doing the lust of your fathers. Right? This Thanksgiving is what? It's for who? It's for your oppressor. All right. And what we're doing when we sit down and we celebrate it, we are celebrating what? We're celebrating the lust of our father, who is the devil. Okay. Because his lust is what? His lust was to unalive 700 men, women, and children of the Pequot tribe. Okay. His lust is to impale the head of your tribal chief for 24 years. His lust was to put you in slavery and parade you around. Okay? Continue reading.
Come on. He was a murderer from the beginning.
He was a what?
A murderer from the beginning.
He was a murderer from the beginning. And all you have to do is look at history. And from the beginning, that's what he did.
Right.
Was unalive, kill, steal, and destroy. Continue reading.
Come on, and abode not in the truth,
Mm-hmm.
because there is no truth in him.
And he abides. Abode means abide. He don't abide in the truth because there is no truth in him. He is not about truth. He is about gain. He is about conquering. Continue reading.
Come on. When he speak of a lie, he speak of his own.
Mm-hmm.
For he is a liar and the father of it.
You see, he is the liar and the father of it. Okay. When he speaks, he's speaking of his own. Okay. He's speaking of himself to make his self great. Go ahead.
And it's funny, I was talking to my pops earlier. They were trying to get me to go over to the house, and I was telling him like, why is compromising what I believe in? And he was like, so you really mean to tell me that these Christian churches have had it wrong since the beginning?
See?
And I said, yes. He's like, have a good day, son. I was like, you too.
You see? That's all you could do.
Yeah.
You have a good day too, Pops. I'm going to have a great day.
Right.
Because I'm not going to sin against my God.
Facts.
Like the Christian church has us so lost and destroyed because what I learned from Christianity is I could do whatever I want and God's going to still love me. It didn't matter that I gangbanged. It didn't matter that I'm selling drugs before church and after church. It didn't matter. I used to go to church every Sunday. And before there, I had a drop on the way to church every Sunday. But I didn't feel wrong because God loved me anyway, no matter what I did. That's why people be sitting in church and they be whatever the hell they want to be because of that. All right. Somebody give me 1 John 2:15.
Book of 1 John, chapter 2, and verse 15. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world.
Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. You don't have to love your oppressors' holidays. You don't have to love this Thanksgiving. You don't have to love these traditions of men. It says, love not the world, neither the things that are in this world. Okay? Continue reading.
If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him.
You see, you can't love Thanksgiving and love God. You can't love your oppressor and love God. You can't love the things of this world and love God. Drop down to verse 3.
Go up to verse 3?
Yeah, go up to verse 3. Salaki.
Verse 3. And hereby we do know that we know him if we keep his commandments.
You have to keep his commandments. That's how you know that you know him. And he didn't tell you to go celebrate no Thanksgiving. He said that he hates and he despises your feast days. So if you're not keeping his commandments, you don't love him. If you're not following these laws of God, you don't love him. You over there eating pork, praying over pork, and expecting the Lord to bless that. That is silly. Continue reading.
Verse 4. He that said, I know him, and keepeth not his commandments, is a liar. And the truth is not in him.
You see, the truth is not in you. You are a liar. If you're celebrating Thanksgiving and you say that you love God, you're a liar. Continue reading.
Verse 5. But whosoever keepeth his word, in him verily is the love of God perfect.
You see, the love of God is perfected if you keep these commandments. If you're not out here celebrating your oppressor's high holy days, okay? You're not out here celebrating Thanksgiving, okay? Give me first, Raphael, give me 1 Corinthians 10 and 20.
10 and 20. It's the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 10 and verse 20. But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils and not to God. And I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils.
You see, read that one more time.
Come on. But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice.
Now I say these things that the Gentiles sacrifice. They sacrifice this feast to a god, to devils. Continue reading.
Come on. They sacrifice to devils and not to God.
You see, this feast that they are holding of high esteem, this is sacrifice to devils. This isn't sacrifice to God. Okay? Continue reading.
Come on. And I would not that you should have fellowship with devils.
Billy invited me over for Thanksgiving.
I would have that you have Salakia. I would not Salakia. And I would not that you should have fellowship with devils.
But I don't have no family and I was invited.
I would not that you should have fellowship with devils.
Yeah, I didn't have nothing to do for this day anyway. We got the day off. I ride with them to work every.
I would not that you should have fellowship with devils.
You should not have fellowship with devils. You should not go fellowship and celebrating the unaliving of your people with your enemies. Okay, you shouldn't celebrate your enemies' days. Continue reading.
Come on, verse 21. You cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils. You cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and of the table of devils.
See, you can't be at the Lord's Passover and be at your oppressor's Thanksgiving. Does it make sense? You can't partake in both. You can't drink of the cup of the Lord and then drink of the cup of devils. Right. It's plain and it's simple. Give me Proverbs 3:31. We're gonna end it there.
I ain't never heard that one. That's a major cut.
Yeah, because you.
Maybe 1 Corinthians 10 and 20 and verse 21.
And it shows who the Gentiles is.
Exactly. The Gentiles sacrifice to the devils. You should not.
Proverbs 3, sir.
Proverbs 3:31.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, this one stuck in my head right here.
Yeah.
Everybody know this.
Let's get it.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 3 and verse 31. Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways.
Read that one more time.
Come on, Khan. Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways.
You should not envy your oppressor, and you should not choose his ways. Stop choosing his traditions.
Right.
Stop choosing his holidays. Stop choosing his Christianity, and stop choosing his Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is a horrible day because it was built on the massacre of innocent people. And with that, any questions? All right. And with that, I'll pass the class over to Trooper Rappin Yai. Oh, it's right here. I think this is it.
Yeah.
I hope it is.
Yep. This is the ISBK security announcements. We are the ISBK, started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find it in Numbers 18 and verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3 and verses 8 through 10. Means a tenth in the Hebrew, ma'ashra. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to treasury department or teacher. Priest fund. Free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations. Got the Feast of Dedication, Hanukkah. It's the 25th day of the 9th month by the space of 8 days, which is December 25th. It's a Wednesday this year. You can find it in 1 Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 52 through 61. And if anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black. Boots, shirt, pants, headband, or scarf. With that, I'll pass the class back over to Officer 500 Shimon.
With that, we're going to Amajium, which means to stand. We're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers. Men of Israel, Ahmad Shabbat, Amajium, Barak, Yahweh, Hashem, Yahshua, Barakatah. All right, Yajamatah. We're going to turn, Sar, face the sisters, sisters rise. Men of Israel, Ahmad Shabbat, Amajium, Barak, Yahweh, Shemal, Latam, Hashem, Yahshua, Yajamatah. Dismiss.